So welcome to the UpLevel Podcast, Tree Jenny.
Thank you, Christy.
Okay, so before we go into the theme of right relationship, which you have so much to offer us on that topic, tell us how the name of Tree Jenny came to be. What's the origin story there?
It's a great one. I was in the grocery store probably, 16, 17 years ago here in Costa Rica. And we still do these Kids Day activities, Kids Nature Day, because everyone has a childlike nature of awe and wonder. So we inspire that with these days. And so a lot of kids know me. And at this time, a little child, I'm in the grocery store and I hear this child screaming, "Johnny!" And then the mom, and I'm like, it wasn't my name yet.
Wow.
But I knew this child was yelling to me. And the mom wheels the cart over and she goes, "Oh my gosh, my child has been looking for you for a week." Like,
Wow.
do you think we'll see Jenny today? Do you think we'll see Jenny today? Because the child had collected some seeds from his own land and they had been in the car and they were looking for me to give me the seeds.
Oh, how incredible.
And from there, it stuck and it has become, my name. For a while, it was quite my identity. And now it's just one of my facets, right? I've learned to honor all parts of myself, not just Tree Jenny.
Well, that's beautiful. And I think we want to hear from all parts of you, and then the piece around your work around with the ACCT, the Association Community Carbon Trees. I said to the listeners already that I really wanted to hear from you in relation to this environmental purpose that you've held so strongly and so powerfully. So can you give us a little bit of background of the work that you do?
Absolutely. So, community carbon trees is a social utility in Costa Rica. That's a fancy way of saying a true nonprofit. Nonprofit status is different here. You actually have to be serving the community. It can't just be file paperwork and call it nonprofit. So I like that a lot. It took us a long time to get that status. And what we do is we collect seeds from a multitude biodiverse native trees. We produce them in tree nurseries where mostly women work, both transplanting and preparing the fertile soil for the nurseries, watering, weeding, all of that aspect of the tree production. Then we transport the trees to farms owned by Costa Ricans, where we have previously met and listened and walked with those farm owners. They're always deforested cattle farms, and we bring everything necessary: the trees, the expertise, the design, the fertilizers, the amendments to the soil. We prepare the land, we plant the trees, and we take care of those trees for a total of 6 years, all with fair paid local Costa Rican labor. Insurance is included, everything. So we open it. The community part is for our communities here. All these activities like Kids Nature Day, ecotourism, the farmer families, the women's groups, the talks, all of that. And also our community at large, our larger global community who are also looking for ways to get back to nature, to breathe easier, to know that they're helping to keep the rainforest healthy, which in turn keeps us healthy. So that's what we do with community carbon trees, and we're having a lot of fun.
Well, there's a beautiful example from my perspective of what right relationship is. You can hear it happening on so many levels in so many different ways. And so how do you define this term that we're exploring this season, right relationship?
I did think about that quite a bit and feel about it as well. And I think that right relationship is always couched and we know about this relay of the relationship. So listening is such a huge part of my work,
Mm.
but also something that I've cultivated to do hopefully better, right? Because sometimes we listen with what we want to hear or what we don't want to hear. So getting ourselves out of the way and our triggers and our wounds and our expectations and sometimes even our hopes and our control. I'm also learning to wait to respond. Luckily, I'm been through a lot of lessons, so reactions are not flying out of me like they maybe did when I was much younger. So I think that lapse of moment, if it's just a deep breath before we respond, or even say, hey, can I get back to you about that? And without trying to control anything, and yet giving ourselves that absolute permission to set boundaries, to discuss they are, to listen how the other person perceives those boundaries, because we're all truth is somewhere in the middle, but we're all with our versions of truth. And I think that that right relationship requires some real stepping back to make sure we're actually in a relay, and it doesn't have to be positive. It can be negative. The parts maybe that I don't like, or maybe the parts that I hide from myself or others. Maybe when something hurts my feelings, generally really strong people, everybody's like, ah, she's got this because you do. And yet we also need that same empathetic listening and speaking and understanding. So I'm looking to give myself that same patience,
Mm.
tolerance, empathy, forgiveness.
Mm.
If we're dragging around the past, or we're dealing with someone who's dragging around something, whether it has to do with us or they're letting a different relationship cloud this one. I think that if we're quiet and we move into stillness, that we do get these downloads. We can feel when something is off.
Mhm.
And so instead of sweeping it under the rug, I've begun sitting with that. And like, is this me? Is this my stuff that makes it feel off? Or is this actually something about their stuff?
Mm.
And do we need to talk about it? Or do I just need to, be the duck and let it roll off? And so all of this for me is right relationship. And I think the best part of right relationship is play.
Ooh, okay. Pause on that because I want to come into that. And I just want to like underline some of the things you said so brilliantly. And thanks for taking it um like in a micro way, meaning like you pulled out certain behaviors and skills and competencies for my corporate folks that people could practice and hone in order to show up in right relationship in whatever context, right? Whatever context. So I'm so with you. There it is something about deep listening, and there's something about learning this the humanness of moving from reactive to creative, and like building capacity and muscle so that when we do get reactive, we can recover more quickly to our creativity, or our wholeness, if you will, our integrated self. So yeah, you gave us some really good like. And so I've mentioned to listeners that you and I are both practitioners, and you're a teacher of Kundalini yoga and meditation. So there's so much good stuff in there for folks that can help this, what we're talking about here. Deep empathetic listening. You talked about self-care, self-forgiveness, and this growing one's capacity to be able to shorten the time that we go into a reaction to move into a more creative space so that we can realign to right relationship.
Yes, yes. That's a wonderful bringing together. And it is something that we have to work on. It is something we have to practice.
Yeah.
But turning that practice into play,
Okay,
turning this relay,
yeah.
right,
Let's
into
talk about
play.
that. Yeah, how does play come into this? This feels really important right now where we
It
are
feels
as a species
so important
because we're having a
because
hard time playing on planet Earth, aren't we?
we're having a hard time, and we really are all big kids grown up.
Yeah.
Some We're all at different parts of the journey, but no one's higher or lower. We know this.
Yeah.
And everyone at every point in life, I believe, is going to feel every emotion out there. So no one's exempt. It's just how willing are you to go into it? And for me, the play keeps me going in for more. I'm aware that when we lighten up and we don't take the thing so seriously and we play, we actually learn more about each other. We actually connect in a faster, deeper, more way.
Yeah.
And then that connection can help us when these reactive moments come or hard, uncomfortable things we might need to talk about. We learn so much faster with play. We learn with fewer repetitions. We don't have to fall in the same hole a million times. Like when we're all serious and we tell ourselves, I have to do it this way, or I can't do that. Well, it's like all we think about.
Yeah.
We're like, and the mind is not ourself, and the mind will loop. So for me, the play, the like, hey, let's go out and shake this off and let's play jump frog. Let's do something. Let's put a song on and let's dance.
Yes.
And then we'll come back.
And then we'll come back to the work because we'll be in literally a different frequency, right? A different energetic frequency. I love that. I've been really guilty over the past 5 years. It's coming up on 5 years since the pandemic hit. And I've really noticed, being a lot more in a trauma response because all of the different events that have happened activated that within me. I know I'm not alone in sharing that. And I've been very guilty of not playing enough. And I'm aware enough to say, okay, if I just played a little bit more and, that would bring some relief to the nervous system. And like you're saying so beautifully, it allows us to come back at it from a new perspective, from a new frequency. And so in your work that you're doing, like, it's such beautiful work. How does play come into your day to day?
It's everywhere. We are laughing and joking at 5 a.m., loading the truck. Sometimes I tell myself, oh, I don't really need to be there. But then I remember how when we start those days off with, me and my silly excitedness, the boys, the fellas working, everybody, it's contagious. Play is contagious. Joy and silliness is contagious. So it's all day. We have cheers that we do in the field. Oh, yeah, I've got the loudest projection voice. That's fine. That's good.
It's good
to me.
Yeah.
And we have a cheer and I'll go, somos, which means we are. And then they'll all scream, los mejores, which means the best. So we'll sing that one, or I'll go, what do we love? And they all say, trees. So I was a cheerleader.
Yeah.
No surprise there.
Came to you honestly, right? From the bayou.
Constantly cheerleading, right?
Yeah.
Cheerleading everyone around me,
Yeah.
cheerleading them, cheerleading myself,
Yes.
cheerleading the dog, cheerleading the trees. I think that people are in desperate need of lightening up.
Yeah, 100%.
I
And,
just,
I told you a lot of the context of our listeners, they're working inside organizations or they're serving inside organizations. And when I think about replicating what you do in the field with your team, this can happen on like a WhatsApp thread or a team messenger or Slack, and these internal communications. As the leader, you could be like, yeah, what are you feeling in this moment? Or like what color is here? Or what's one word to describe your current state? Like things that just create connection and get us away from the tasking, the doing, and reconnect us to the being and the communities that we have, even if we're virtual and we're not in physical contact with each other. So, like, yes, this is like a call out. Thank you, Tree Jenny. Let's bring playback people. I know it feels hard right now because it is. And there's a lot of scary shit going on. But can play be a revolutionary act right now to help humanity get into right relationship?
yeah. Yeah, I think it brings deep, deep connection. And especially with all the division that's being thrown about, it doesn't matter where you are on whatever the spectrum of whatever it is. I just think that when we can, I think music is a real good mover also, dancing, shaking. The dog is a great oil for play. Whatever we have in our space when in offices, I worked as a lawyer for 8 years. I had a super high stress job with a big team. I was one of the baby lawyers and I did a lot of the grunt work with a lot of the paralegals. And I mean, there were nights it's 12 o'clock at night and we're still going through boxes. And I'd be like, all right, time for a song.
Right.
And we dance and then we can all go for 2 hours longer. Now, now that may not be healthy, right? But when there's a trial, you have to do what you have to do. And there's mothers and fathers out there. There's people with hard jobs that have to go home and then start their second job with their family. How do you switch into I'm home now with family? Okay, play, find some kind of play because I get more energy from it and I see the people around me do the same. And that's what we're after, right? The energy.
The energy.
To show up with our gifts and our best self, or at least do no harm.
Yes. Thank you for that. One of the things as we've been exploring right relationship that has been coming up is more and more folks feeling called to service and whatever expression that looks like for them. For some people that they don't know what that expression looks like, but there's a calling. So, what was your journey to leave? You were an attorney and to leave that space and to do this incredible work that you're doing now? Because I feel like a lot of people need to hear those inspirational stories right now.
Christy, you're so intuitive because I full body chill because the way I ended up here was play.
Of course.
I worked on a huge case. It was the first environmental racism case on planet Earth in Louisiana, Cancer Alley. I represented with my lawyer teams. I was the baby lawyer, right? I wasn't the one in charge. We represented Lloyd's of London, who insured the plastics plant. It was a polyethylene plant. It was an environmental racism case. Without going through all of that, I found the smoking gun in the 700 boxes of paperwork. And I'm like, we lose. Look, we lose.
Wow.
Y'all really did only hire janitors. Like they really did. And here's the memo. So ethics of lawyers. I worked with people with good ethics, but it still was hard because I was conflicted because my boss told me to go put the paper back, but in a different box.
Ooh.
I was like, that does not feel right. I can see the slippery slope that's already beginning here. So that's a whole other deal.
Yeah.
And no, I didn't put it in a different box. And I told him I wasn't going to. And then we won the case.
Wow. Even, yeah. And you didn't need to do
trial level.
at the trial level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was appealed. Well, between the trial level and the appeal, that boss lawyer came to me, knew I was pretty disenchanted. And I said so. Came to me and said, "We're going to pay for you to go on a vacation, Jenny.
Wow.
You can go anywhere you want for a week. You just have to go with the vice president and his wife of one of our clients, which you're friends with. And anyway, and y'all go have fun and you entertain them and we'll pay for everything." I'm like, I like it. Cool. I want to go to Costa Rica. Came to Costa Rica, 1998.
Wow.
Went on a tour, a zip line tour at Hacienda Baru. A man on the tour hit the platform, busted his leg open.
Oh my God.
Lots of blood. Nobody on the tour, I mean, this was a long time ago, it was 1998. Nobody on the tour spoke English. I spoke Spanish. Again, the tools were in me to do this.
Wow.
And basically walked the guy off the mountain. They asked me to, "Look, you speak Spanish. Will you go with this guide, walk him down, translate? They got to get the pig doctor to come stitch him up, blah, blah, blah." We hang out after they stitch him up. He's like, "Let's have a shot of tequila." I was like, "Well, okay. I mean, you've just had 7 stitches, you know?"
Yeah.
And Jack Ewing walked in and he said, "I hear the loudest, most cackling laughter I've ever heard. Somebody's been in here, like, just raising a ruckus.
Yeah.
I got to meet this person." We meet. He invited me to come the next day, said, "I'll take you tree climbing on a special tour. Thank you for all the service you did today." And we got to talking the next day, and I told him I wasn't loving my job, that I felt that if I continued to do it, I would be required to sacrifice my ethics, and that I didn't go to law school to defend big polluters. I want to serve the environment, and I want to serve the animals, and I want to serve the humans and all the sentient beings, even the ones we don't see. So I just really shared my vulnerable space about where I was with my job. And immediately he said, "Well, guess what? I'm going to offer you a job. It's going to be a huge pay cut, but we're about to name the biological corridor. We need a bilingual person. I can't think of anybody better to go out into these communities and be the eyes and ears to report back to the group that funded the naming and the educating about the biological corridor." So, of course, I accepted out on the bat.
Oh
Of course, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I said, "But I do need to go back and build the bridge for me to leave. I'm not going to leave anybody in alert. I am an important person in my
Team in the
office,
ecosystem. Yeah.
in the ecosystem, and
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I need to finish and clear it away. So I need 6 months." So yeah, 6 months later, and I sauntered into that office and basically quit, but gave them their 6 months, and boy, did they take it, and boy, did they try to keep me. And I always knew that if I wanted to go back, I could, but I never, ever, ever wanted to go back, even when I had $5 to my name and my dog needed a surgery. That was not an option. So there's been so many challenges along the way, but I never, never, ever regretted taking that leap of faith and doing it in a responsible way.
Yeah.
And I'm just so grateful.
Yeah.
I was all right. I was exactly where I was supposed to be.
I hear that, but I also hear, and I think this is for the listeners, I hear you consistently honored your values, your integrity, like that one decision not to put the paper in the other box. Like you kept honoring your values and staying aligned. And then the universe, if you will, whatever you want to call it, kept opening the path and offering more and more alignment, helping you get even more and more aligned to your values and your purpose. Like, that's what it's about, folks. That's what I want people to hear. So it's like, it is there for all of us. And it is about honoring our values. And it does mean tough conversations, boundaries, saying, no, I will not do that because that compromises my integrity. And that then keeps us moving on the right path. And so it's like 25 years ago now, right? It's a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
and look at, like, there's a whole movement. Are these numbers accurate? 620,000 biodiverse trees so far, over
We're actually at 640. Yeah.
640.
That chart, or that in my bio, I think that bio is a year old. So sorry.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
okay.
we're at
640.
640, and they're all growing. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of projects. I do private work as well. So
Yeah.
within that count are some of the private projects, some of which have been humongous. Know yourself first. Know where your weaknesses are, your strengths are, your wounds are, your healings are.
Yes.
Because that right relationship with ourself is number one. We can't have it with other people if we're not having it with ourselves. And as we hold our ethics, or hold our, whether it's our self-love or our knowing about what is aligned and what is not aligned, if we keep doing things that are not aligned, or we put out compromising positions that are actually against our ethics, against our soul contract,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be called unlucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We did it to ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do have free will.
Yeah.
And that free will to huge responsibility.
Huge.
The more we put out good actions, one little action at a time, one word at a time. Like, I'm so focused now, like, oh, don't say that. Like, I'm having an issue right now. I would like to say something really ugly to someone. I'm not an angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, you cannot do that, Jennifer. You cannot do that. It's very hard for me.
I think it's
right
hard
now.
for all of us right now
Because I'm angry at this person.
Yeah.
And righteously so.
Yeah.
But righteousness is so yucky, right? And then we've dropped all our right relationship stuff. We're in our egos and we think we're perfect, and we're trying to be perfect, and it's impossible.
Yeah.
So just that forgiving ourselves, that like, oh, I fell in that pile of you know what, and it smells. And how do I get out of this? Do I bless this person out in a yucky way? Or do I bless them out and just go, bye-bye, I wish you the best.
Yeah.
But we are not aligned in this friendship anymore.
I think
this work relationship.
Or this work relationship. Yeah. And I think that's happening all over the place for people. There's and for those that follow the astrology, we actually had someone else from our Sangha kick the year off with us, giving us the astrology for the year, Sunday Phillips, that this is the year that we shed those relationships, scenarios, situations, circumstances that are not to our highest good and have us not aligned to why we're here. And so it is difficult. It is such hard work. It is so hard to be boundaried and to be true to oneself. Like it is a form of warriorship, I really believe, in this modern age. And for those of us that have the advantage, to go study the tools or have different practices that help us be centered. There are so many people on the planet that don't have that advantage. So what can we do to ensure we're shedding the containers, the relationships, the versions of ourselves that are not in the highest good? And it's so painful, Tree Jenny. It's so painful. But I want to go back to like purpose, because I feel like if people are connected to purpose, then it gives them the strength to keep going. And your particular purpose, I haven't had anybody on the show to really talk about trees and why they're here and how they serve us. Can you educate us on their purpose?
I love to talk about the trees, and especially the ones here within 10 degrees of the equator. Trees everywhere are magnificent. They are the standing ones. They are patient. They weather the storms. They give and give and give and give and give and give. They're teachers in a really incredible way. And when it's time to let go and prune, they let go, they decompose that stuff that's not working or that's tired and old and worn out, and they just drop those dead leaves and make new ones and flower again. So I think just their manner of living, no matter where they are, they're so beautiful from a Zen contemplation standpoint. And for our true life force, they're the most connected with us of anything here on the planet.
And how so? Give
They're
us the
taking in the
science.
sun. They're
Yeah.
doing the photosynthesis. They're giving us oxygen. We breathe in what they give us. We breathe out the carbon dioxide, and then they suck that in. They need what we are expelling, and we need what they are expelling, giving. It's just a total connect. We cannot live without them. And the reason I was so focused on the rainforest and Costa Rica, it's why I chose that free trip to come here. I was obsessed with the rainforest as a child, and I was obsessed with the pollution in the air.
Mm.
And I asked my father when I was 7, Daddy, all those smokes coming out of those smokestacks, because Louisiana's refineries, how much can the air take? How much can the sky take?
Mm.
I see this gross oil sheen all over the water. We're fishing in it. I don't want to eat that fish. I don't want to eat the fish, A, because it has a face, and B, because it's coming out of that oil. My father, I think, would always look at me like, where did this child come from? She's mine. Oh, yeah. But gosh, she's a worrier. She's a worrier. And
Yeah.
so my worrying made me want to learn.
Yeah.
And as I studied more and more, I knew that if I wanted to make the most out of my gifts, I needed to do it where the trees could do the most.
Mm.
And it's here. It's within 10 degrees of the equator because they never have a winter. They don't freeze. They're giving 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year. The air cleaning is happening here. We are the air conditioners for the entire planet. Your trees, anywhere outside of those 10 degrees, they're wonderful, but they're not managing the global climate problems balance. We don't need to argue about climate change or global warming or any of the things.
Mm.
The corruptness of carbon offsets, the corrupt, scam tree planting organizations. There's so much corruption in the tree world
Mhm.
because they're so benevolent. People just take advantage of them, right? They're asking for it, as people like to justify, right? Oh, no,
Yeah.
you offered, it's okay. They can handle it. But the question is, can we, right? Because we've cut down 62% of the world's forest, and 94% of that 62% is in this precious zone of the equator. So when we kill the rainforest, we kill ourselves, we kill our breath, and we kill our water. We kill our rain cycles. We have hotter temperatures. We have bigger storms. We have alternating drought and floods because the clouds the trees give off here from a forest are cool. They freeze and they get around the currents that move around the equator. If there are no trees on the equator, then we have hot skillet effect. Rain falls, skittles up, hot water vapor. That vapor comes together as hot, thin clouds, unstable. They go in those equatorial currents. Like Mama Earth has a big green belt around her. It's called the tropics. And that hot air is unstable. It doesn't freeze. It doesn't release its water in a balanced way. It just deluges down. It'll flood one place, and then there's no more water to rain. It's gone. So it drops in one place and doesn't drop anywhere else. Whereas when we reforest, we bring the temperature down of the soil, water on a hot skillet, it sits there. The universal law of like attracts like, temperature gradients. If the ground is cool, the tree roots then send that water down, replenishes our aquifers, our underground oceans and rivers, which is all connected, and then sends those cool clouds that freeze, and then everybody gets healthy rain.
Mm.
Now we are committed to regrowing the rainforest because we have done it. We can do it. We actually end up growing so diverse that there are more animals, plants, bugs, and such mushroom varieties in the areas where we've planted and remanaged the regeneration than in natural forests even. I mean, scientists come behind us and they're like, oh my God, our species counting is off the charts. So it all goes hand in hand with how the trees behave. And they can't get through these cattle grasses without us. Like they need us.
They need the humans to retill the soil and then plant the seeds and care for them and nurture them those first 6 years, like what your team does. Yeah.
They absolutely do.
Thank you so much for breaking it down like that for us. I mean, it clearly you teach this because it was really, I could like really see it as you spoke to it. And what kept coming to my mind was right relationship. And I notice I'm getting really emotional when I just think about the trees. And I know that it's your purpose. And so it's palpable when we get to hear it from you. They are here serving us, and when you shared how it's this part of the world that is like the lungs for the rest of the world. We are all so interconnected, and we've gotten so far away from that. So far away from that, and especially in the West, the way we've built our communities, right? With fences and just separating ourselves from our neighbors and from our families. And your education is just making me emotional and making me understand why I'm wanting to explore right relationship, because nature is constantly providing us with the demonstration of right relationship over and over and over again, and so generously, and not taking from us ever, but just being a model of what it means to be a part of an ecosystem where there's give and take, where there's an interconnectedness. So thank you. I'm like, I guess I'm speechless, but I'm not, because clearly I'm saying things, but I just feel very, very moved by what you just shared. And I'm so grateful you're doing this work. Like, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so grateful I get to do it.
Yeah.
And I always say, please let me live long and old and healthy and go, 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 go. I will do it until my last dying breath. And then I'll probably come back and do it again.
Yeah.
My chart's pretty funny. I mean, all my retrograde planets, and the astrologers look at me and they're like, oh God, you're one of those old. You've been repeating and repeating.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I guess I just keep trying the same thing over and over again. And I know that I keep trying the trees again because I've gotten the downloads. And a whole other conversation, but I had a really serious accident when I was 4. So I woke myself up, and The way it happened, I was walking on a fallen, humongous tree, holding a tree branch. And when I say I impaled myself on the tree branch,
Wow.
probably didn't see that coming.
No.
Yes. And I had a meeting with God. Call it what you will, creator, source, energy, universe. And I made a deal.
You made a deal.
To keep my leg.
Yeah.
I fell on, it was the upper part of my leg, and it got terribly, terribly, terribly infected because splinters don't show up on an x-ray. So I almost lost my leg. But at the age of coming into a weight of around 4, we can survive. And I asked karmic questions when I was 5 years old. Why did this happen to me? Why am I having to go through this, even though it was play?
Yeah.
My Barbie townhouse was in the hospital.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Mommy, I want macaroni and cheese. So there are no accidents. We are more powerful and knowing than we know. And the purpose, look how long it took for it to manifest for me. Like the real purpose. I was 29, had invested in a law career, which I do not regret. If you're out there looking for your purpose and you go, this thing happened to me when I was a child. I mean, it all relates. Every bit of it relates. And whatever that little thing floating around in you, it's just waiting for the right conditions, just like a seed for it to sprout, has to have the right conditions. Sometimes I'll have a seed in a seed bed lie dormant for years. How do we leave the thing and get the other thing? And wow, there's so much to go there, and I'm going to be quiet now. But I love that part of the conversation because, my purpose, it came very organically. I was led. And then when I finally got the download, everything about it was resonant. And I knew it all along because when I related it back to that accident, I had to do some work unwinding that wounding accident so that my work wouldn't come out of a wound or out of a deal that I made with the higher force.
Yeah.
So I could keep my leg because it was making me overwork and overgive and overdo and just exhaust myself. I thought I wasn't allowed to say no for a while.
Okay, so that's actually where I wanted to go next. So
really,
folks that have a very clear purpose, and we're rooting for everyone to tune into theirs. And you just heard Tree Jenny's story. Like it's all, the evidence is all over. We just got to look for it because it's constantly revealing itself. So the folks that are like really on track with the purpose, there's this balance that needs to happen, or this titration, right? When we talk about our work inside Kundalini with our nervous systems, the balance of letting the passion and the dedication overrun us and overwork us and burn us out to the point where we're disconnected from like the energetics of it and we're more in the ego of it, And so for my coactive community, we're more in the active and not connected to the which is like the relationship part. What have you learned? Because you've been, I know you said you found it later, but you've been at it for 25 years, which is a lot of wisdom. How have you learned to balance the letting go and the holding on that is required when one is in service of their purpose?
It has also been an evolving journey. And as I said, just as we're moving into this part of the conversation, learning to say no took me a while. And I had reached a real rubber meets the road, or as Guru Jagat would say, life was rubbing me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I have been a yogi for many lifetimes, but I was practicing Ashtanga yoga and I found Guru Jagat. She found me, however that happened. and with enough years that I could still really receive and be with her, So she told me first time she ever heard my sound current on a group call, first time I ever was on a group call, first person to raise hand. She called on me first. And my question was exactly what you just asked me. How do I deal with my fatigue? Where is it coming from? When I love what I'm doing so much and I wake up with all this energy, but I'm drained a lot. I'm drained by this and that. And I'm just, yeah. I'm, and when I say no, I'm letting the no loop. It's not an easy,
Right.
peaceful no. It's harder to say no because then I feel bad.
Yeah.
So how do I deal with this? First thing she told me was go talk to the trees.
Yes.
Because we know they receive our problems and they have prana. I mean, it's proven scientifically. Buddha awoke under a tree. You don't feel so good. Go find a tree somewhere. If you're in a city, go find one. Go sit. Go hug it. Go talk to it.
Go hug the trees, people.
But
this is not
woo
woo. This is science.
Show me my purpose. I'm trying to put good actions into the world. Help me.
Yes.
Help me. Call and help.
Yes.
And so I think the learning to say no, it's definitely been a journey. The practice of Kundalini has been life-changing. Of course, you have to get up and do it. Can't just read about it. Have to do it. But it's available to us. The tools are there. And also feeling, again, back into that intuitional knowing and alignment. And sometimes we get burned pretty hard and like to a crisp.
Yeah.
And so with all the fires and all the destruction in California and all the problems in North Carolina and all over the world and all of us are going through something that's just shaken. We're all shook up.
Yeah.
So how do we get that calm again? If it's, I'm not just saying Kundalini is the only way. I mean, you can go sit under the tree. You can sit quietly if you're not a meditator. I do believe meditation is, and these are Guru Jagat's words, a civic duty nowadays.
100%.
It's almost, revolutionary to be able to sit with all the pain and sit with all the destruction and sit with the burnt skin from what? And hug ourselves and soothe each other and play and then wake up the next day and hopefully, find some kind of way to kick it forward.
Yeah.
And or just take a little mini sabbatical, a little mini break, a little tiny break, can be a great way to revive. I think the purpose comes to us when we get quiet.
I agree.
So if you're out there like, I don't know, and I want to be like her, because I get, but I'm like, okay, so that's why I let people plug into me and our organization, right? Like, you want to be an activist, you want to do this, you want to help. Okay, you can plug in with your gifts and your business and your voice. You can plug into us. So if we're not what you do, then you get inspired and go, well, where could I plug in? Is that person strong enough to let me plug in?
Yeah. These are great examples. You've given us many, many, like community, mentorship. And then there's some of the aspects of just really finding a practice, whatever that is for you, that you notice you feel better after. You notice it gives you more energy after. And rest and play. Rest and play are requirements right now for whatever role you're playing in the renaissance of humanity. Rest and play are mandatory. So True Jenny, I'm going to start bringing the conversation to close. And I want you to know in the show notes, people are going to be able to like find you. We're going to put the links and whatnot. But if we could just hear it from your voice. If people want to contribute to this great work, or if they're coming to Costa Rica and to have an experience with you, how do they find you?
Fabulous. Thank you. We are communitycarbontrees.org. That's our website. You can write communitycarbontrees@gmail.com. I will receive it and reply. So, number one, it's also the way to contribute. You can sponsor trees on our website using a credit card or PayPal and send a personalized certificate to whoever you're sending that tree to. It might be to yourself, a loved one, whoever. And we also provide nonprofit services in the United States through Global Giving, which is a very prestigious old umbrella organization for those tax deductions. So it's 100% deductible. Our favorite kind of gifts are monthly recurring donors. One tree a month, it's $25. We do so much work for that $25 over 6 years. Nobody's pocketing your money. We're spending all of it and then some. So that predictability is really nice for us. We also love huge donations and we love little donations. It doesn't matter. We just love everyone who jumps in with us. Our ecotourism opportunities are varied and they can be tailored to your group, to your family, to your educational needs. I can even give college credit because I am a doctor of law.
Wow.
I'm also a forestry engineer and I'm a certified carbon dioxide auditor.
Yeah. Hello.
Quite a few degrees under my belt. And so
My
I can
sister.
help students, whether it's political science, social justice, social work, forestry,
Amazing.
data collection, all of that. So we do receive students. That's an individual analysis and all the rest. We just love to have our tree ambassadors who speak up for us. We love to have businesses work with us. We'll do campaigns with you. We'll do anything that anybody wants. We want people to be creative and come with their ideas and go, oh, I had an idea for this. We've made movies. We've made music videos. We'll do anything. You want a t-shirt, a tree shirt? Let's make that.
Let's do it.
Whatever anybody wants to do. We want it to be fun, easy, transparent, and valuable.
And we're going to support the trees, which in the end supports humanity. And so if you've been called by this transmission, the information that you've received from this beautiful being, please check out this website and be in contact because everyone is called to a different mission. And we're saying now more so than ever. And so if this is it, the environment and helping us breathe clean air and drink clean water, then Tree Jenny is a portal for you. All right. So then we're going to synthesize all of this magic into a final answer from you, some final words, some short and sweet words. How do you think being in right relationship contributes to collective healing and growth in this moment in time?
I think we're just in that cascading domino effect all over the planet. And every single one of us in right relationship, watching our thoughts, our words, and our deeds, giving back to nature, no matter what our purpose is, no matter what your purpose is, we're all on this planet eating, breathing. And so I invite people to join in this mission, no matter what else you're doing. Everybody, we have to do everything we can to leave a habitable earth for future generations. And I think right relationship requires some recognition and reciprocity with Mother Nature now. And I think it's the one thing so many people are not doing. I'm issuing a challenge and go, do it globally and locally. Great. Go volunteer in your community, but don't forget what's going on in Pachamama's midsection. She's keeping us all alive. So whatever it is you want to do on the planet, if we don't have a habitable planet, can't do it. So I know that sounds fear-based. It's not. It's hope-based. It's hope-based.
Mm.
And I think that hope has to infuse our right relationships, and it requires action. And so let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do it, Tree Jenny. You are such a beautiful example of this. Thank you for saying yes to the conversation. Thank you for hearing your calling and sharing your story with us. I'm so excited to come and visit you and learn more about the work and contribute to this beautiful community and the collective community because of the work that you do. So there's so much more I want to say. My heart's bursting, but thank you, Satnam. I really appreciate you.